Who is Mao Zedong? Mao Zedong was a Chinese communist revolutionary, politician, and leader who played a major role in shaping the course of Chinese history. He was born on December 26, 1893, and died on September 9, 1976. Mao led the Communist Party of China to victory against the nationalist forces of Chiang Kai-shek in the Chinese Civil War, and went on to become the first chairman of the People's Republic of China in 1949. Mao's leadership was characterized by his commitment to Marxist-Leninist ideology, his charismatic personality, and his unorthodox approach to governance. He implemented a series of policies aimed at modernizing and industrializing China, including the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution, which had a profound impact on Chinese society and politics. Mao's policies were often controversial and led to widespread suffering and human rights abuses, including mass famine and political purges. Mao remained a central figure in Chinese politics until his death in 1976, and his legacy continues to shape Chinese society and politics to this day. Despite the controversies surrounding his leadership, Mao is widely regarded as one of the most important figures in Chinese history, and his contributions to the development of Chinese communism and the formation of the People's Republic of China are still celebrated by many in China. Some text goes here. What were Mao Zedong's key contributions to the Chinese Communist Party and the Chinese Revolution, and how did he shape the course of Chinese history? Some text goes here. Mao Zedong made several key contributions to the Chinese Communist Party, CCP, and the Chinese Revolution, which helped to shape the course of Chinese history. Here are some of his most important contributions. 1. Theory of revolutionary warfare. Mao's theory of guerrilla warfare, outlined in his book on guerrilla warfare, was a major contribution to the Chinese Communist Party's military strategy. Mao's ideas on revolutionary warfare helped the CCP to successfully wage a protracted war against the nationalists, and eventually win control of China. 2. Land reform. Mao's policy of land reform, which aimed to redistribute land to the rural poor, helped to gain support from the peasantry, who made up the majority of China's population. This policy helped to strengthen the CCP's base of support, and contributed to the eventual success of the Chinese Revolution. 3. Rectification campaigns. Mao's rectification campaigns, aimed at purging the CCP of perceived enemies and promoting ideological purity, helped to consolidate his power within the party and shape the direction of Chinese communism. 4. Long March. Mao's leadership during the Long March, a retreat of the CCP's forces in the face of nationalist attacks, helped to solidify his position as the party's leader and establish his reputation as a military strategist. 5. People's Republic of China. Mao's leadership was instrumental in the establishment of the People's Republic of China in 1949, following the defeat of the nationalists in the Chinese Civil War. Mao became the first chairman of the People's Republic, and his leadership helped to shape the course of Chinese history in the following decades. Overall, Mao Zedong's contributions to the Chinese Communist Party and the Chinese Revolution were significant, and helped to shape the direction of Chinese communism and the course of Chinese history. His theories on revolutionary warfare, policies on land reform, rectification campaigns, leadership during the Long March, and establishment of the People's Republic of China were all instrumental in the success of the Chinese Revolution and the consolidation of Mao's power within the CCP. Some text goes here. What was Mao's approach to governance, and how did it differ from other communist leaders of his time? Some text goes here. Mao Zedong's approach to governance was characterized by his unorthodox and often authoritarian leadership style, which differed significantly from other communist leaders of his time. Here are some of the key features of Mao's approach to governance. 1. Mass mobilization. Mao believed in the importance of mobilizing the masses to achieve political goals. He emphasized the importance of mass movements, such as the Cultural Revolution, as a means of achieving revolutionary change. 2. Personality cult. Mao fostered a cult of personality around himself, with his image and ideas becoming central to Chinese Communist Party ideology. He was often referred to as the Great Helmsman, and his image was prominently displayed on posters and banners throughout China. 3. Anti-intellectualism. Mao was highly suspicious of intellectuals and believed that they posed a threat to the revolution. He launched campaigns aimed at purging intellectuals from the party and promoting proletarian culture. 4. Permanent revolution. Mao believed in the importance of maintaining a constant state of revolution, both within China and internationally. He argued that revolution was necessary to prevent the formation of a new bourgeoisie and to defend socialism from capitalist encroachment. 5. New democracy. Mao's vision for China was characterized by his concept of new democracy, which aimed to unite all anti-imperialist forces in a broad coalition. This approach emphasized the importance of peasant and worker movements, rather than relying solely on urban intellectuals. Overall, Mao's approach to governance was characterized by his focus on mass mobilization, his fostering of a personality cult, his suspicion of intellectuals, his commitment to permanent revolution, and his emphasis on new democracy. These ideas set him apart from other communist leaders of his time, and helped to shape the direction of Chinese communism under his leadership. Some text goes here. How did Mao's policies, such as the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution, impact China and its people? Some text goes here. Mao's policies, such as the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution, had a profound impact on China and its people. Here are some ways in which these policies impacted China. 1. Great Leap Forward. Mao's Great Leap Forward was an ambitious economic and social plan aimed at rapidly transforming China into an industrialized, communist society. However, the plan was poorly executed and led to widespread famine and economic collapse. It is estimated that tens of millions of people died as a result of the Great Leap Forward, making it one of the deadliest famines in history. 2. Cultural Revolution. Mao's Cultural Revolution was a period of political and social upheaval aimed at purging the Communist Party of perceived enemies and promoting revolutionary ideology. The Cultural Revolution led to widespread violence and human rights abuses, including the persecution of intellectuals, artists, and other bourgeois elements. The period was marked by mass mobilization, political purges, and the promotion of revolutionary ideals. 3. Impact on society. Mao's policies had a profound impact on Chinese society, shaping the country's political and social landscape for decades to come. The policies of the Great Leap Forward and Cultural Revolution led to the collapse of traditional social structures, the erosion of social trust, and the loss of millions of lives. 4. Economic impact. The policies of the Great Leap Forward and Cultural Revolution had a long-lasting impact on the Chinese economy. The Great Leap Forward led to widespread economic collapse, while the Cultural Revolution led to the erosion of business and economic activity. Both policies set back China's economic development by decades. 5. Political impact. Mao's policies had a significant impact on Chinese politics, cementing his position as a cult leader and consolidating his power within the Communist Party. The Cultural Revolution in particular was marked by violent political purges and the elevation of Mao's personality cult above all else. Overall, Mao's policies, such as the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution, had a profound impact on China and its people. These policies led to widespread famine, economic collapse, and political upheaval, and had a lasting impact on China's political and social landscape. While some of Mao's policies, such as land reform and the establishment of the People's Republic of China, were successful, his more radical policies left a deep scar on Chinese history. Some text goes here. What was Mao's relationship with the United States, and how did it shape the Cold War era? Some text goes here. Mao Zedong's relationship with the United States was marked by hostility and tension, which helped to shape the course of the Cold War era. Here are some key features of Mao's relationship with the United States. 1. Early years. In the early years of his leadership, Mao was focused primarily on consolidating his power within China and building the new communist state. He was critical of the United States and saw the country as a symbol of capitalist imperialism. 2. Korean War. The Korean War, which began in 1950, brought Mao into direct conflict with the United States. Mao sent Chinese troops to support North Korea in its conflict with South Korea and the United States, leading to a protracted and bloody conflict. 3. Taiwan. Mao was strongly opposed to the United States' support of Taiwan, which he saw as a renegade province of China. Mao sought to reunify Taiwan with mainland China and viewed the United States' support of the island as a direct threat to China's sovereignty. 4. Nixon visit. Mao's relationship with the United States thawed somewhat in 1972, when President Richard Nixon made a historic visit to China. The visit marked a turning point in U.S.-China relations and helped to ease tensions between the two countries. 5. Legacy. Mao's relationship with the United States had a lasting impact on the Cold War era and helped to shape the course of global politics. Mao's advocacy of communism and anti-imperialism served as an inspiration for revolutionary movements around the world, while his conflict with the United States helped to solidify the bipolar world order of the Cold War. Overall, Mao's relationship with the United States was marked by hostility and tension, which helped to shape the course of the Cold War era. Mao saw the United States as a symbol of capitalist imperialism and sought to challenge the country's influence in Asia and around the world. His conflict with the United States contributed to the tensions of the Cold War and helped to shape global politics for decades to come. Some text goes here. How did Mao's legacy impact China after his death, and how is he remembered in China today? Some text goes here. Mao Zedong's legacy has had a significant impact on China after his death, and continues to shape the country's politics, society, and culture. Here are some ways in which Mao's legacy has impacted China. 1. Post-Mao era. Following Mao's death in 1976, China underwent a period of political and economic reform under the leadership of Deng Xiaoping. Deng's reforms sought to move China away from Maoist ideology and toward a more market-oriented, capitalist system. 2. Cultural Revolution. Despite this shift away from Maoist ideology, Mao's legacy continued to have an impact on Chinese society. The Cultural Revolution left a lasting scar on Chinese culture, and the memory of Mao's cult of personality and the violence of the period remained a potent force in Chinese politics. 3. Political impact. Mao's legacy has had a significant impact on Chinese politics, with his image and ideas continuing to be a source of inspiration for some political factions. While many of Mao's more radical policies, such as the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution, have been repudiated by Chinese leaders, his emphasis on socialism and anti-imperialism continues to influence Chinese politics to this day. 4. Cultural impact. Mao's legacy has also had a significant impact on Chinese culture, with his image and ideas continuing to be celebrated in two. Scientific and military collaboration. Mao relied heavily on scientific and military collaboration with the Soviet Union to develop China's nuclear program. However, Mao's relationship with the Soviet Union was fraught, and he eventually turned to China's own scientists and engineers to develop the country's nuclear capabilities. 3. Testing and deployment. China conducted its first nuclear test in 1964, making it the fifth country in the world to possess nuclear weapons. Mao saw China's nuclear arsenal as a symbol of the country's status as a major world power, and made the development of nuclear weapons a top priority. 4. Impact on global politics. China's entry into the nuclear club had a significant impact on global politics, contributing to the nuclear arms race of the Cold War era. China's nuclear capabilities challenged the dominance of the United States and the Soviet Union, and contributed to the development of nuclear deterrence theory. 5. Legacy. Mao's role in the development of China's nuclear program has had a lasting impact on Chinese politics and society. China's nuclear arsenal remains an important component of the country's national defense strategy, and continues to be a source of tension and concern for the international community. Overall, Mao Zedong played a critical role in the development of China's nuclear weapons program, which had a significant impact on global politics. China's entry into the nuclear club challenged the dominance of the United States and the Soviet Union, and contributed to the development of nuclear deterrence theory. Mao saw China's nuclear arsenal as a symbol of the country's status as a major world power, and his emphasis on nuclear development remains a key component of China's national defense strategy to this day. Some text goes here. What was Mao's philosophy of Marxism-Leninism, Maoism, and how did it shape communist ideology? Some text goes here. Mao's philosophy of Marxism-Leninism, Maoism, also known as Mao Zedong thought, was a variant of communist ideology that emphasized the importance of mass mobilization, revolutionary struggle, and the ongoing class struggle between the proletariat and the bourgeoisie. Here are some key features of Mao's philosophy. 1. Mass mobilization. Mao believed in the importance of mass mobilization as a means of achieving political goals. He saw the masses as the driving force behind revolutionary change, and emphasized the importance of mass movements such as the Cultural Revolution. 2. Revolutionary struggle. Mao saw revolutionary struggle as an ongoing process, and believed that revolution was necessary to prevent the formation of a new bourgeoisie and to defend socialism from capitalist encroachment. 3. Anti-revisionism. Mao was highly critical of revisionist tendencies within the Communist Party, and saw revisionism as a threat to the revolutionary cause. He emphasized the importance of remaining true to the original revolutionary ideals of Marxism-Leninism. 4. New democracy. Mao's vision for China was characterized by his concept of new democracy, which aimed to unite all anti-imperialist forces in a broad coalition. This approach emphasized the importance of peasant and worker movements, rather than relying solely on urban intellectuals. 5. Cultural Revolution. Mao's philosophy also emphasized the importance of cultural revolution, with the aim of transforming traditional social structures and promoting proletarian culture. The Cultural Revolution was a key component of Mao's philosophy, and saw mass mobilization and political purges aimed at promoting revolutionary ideals. Overall, Mao's philosophy of Marxism-Leninism, Maoism emphasized the importance of mass mobilization, revolutionary struggle, and ongoing class struggle. Mao saw his philosophy as a continuation of the revolutionary ideals of Marx and Lenin, and sought to transform traditional social structures and promote proletarian culture through mass mobilization and revolutionary struggle. Mao's ideas had a significant impact on communist ideology, with Maoism remaining a key variant of communist thought to this day. Some text goes here. How did Mao's personal life, including his marriages and relationships, influence his political beliefs and leadership style? Some text goes here. Mao Zedong's personal life, including his marriages and relationships, had a significant impact on his political beliefs and leadership style. Here are some ways in which Mao's personal life influenced his political career. 1. Marriage and family. Mao was married 4 times, and his wives played an important role in his political career. Mao's second wife, He Zizhen, was a prominent communist activist who played a key role in the establishment of the People's Republic of China. Mao's third wife, Jiang Qing, became a powerful figure in the Chinese Communist Party and played a significant role in the Cultural Revolution. 2. Personal relationships. Mao's personal relationships also had an impact on his political career. He had close relationships with several influential figures in the Communist Party, including Zhou Enlai and Lin Biao. These relationships helped Mao to consolidate his power within the party and to promote his policies. 3. Personality cult. Mao's leadership style was characterized by a cult of personality, with Mao's image and ideas elevated above all else. This was in part a reflection of Mao's own ego and his desire for personal power and control. 4. Ideological rigidity. Mao's personal beliefs and relationships also contributed to his ideological rigidity. Mao was highly committed to Marxist-Leninist ideology, and saw any deviation from this ideology as a threat to the revolutionary cause. This led to purges of perceived enemies within the party and the promotion of Mao's personality cult above all else. Overall, Mao's personal life, including his marriages and relationships, had a significant impact on his political beliefs and leadership style. His personal relationships helped to consolidate his power within the Communist Party, while his personality cult and ideological rigidity contributed to the excesses of the Cultural Revolution and other periods of political violence. Some text goes here are what were some of the criticisms and controversies surrounding Mao's leadership, and how have historians evaluated his legacy. Some text goes here. Mao Zedong's leadership was controversial, and his policies and actions have been the subject of much criticism and debate. Here are some of the criticisms and controversies surrounding Mao's leadership, as well as some perspectives from historians on his legacy. 1. The Cultural Revolution. Mao's Cultural Revolution, which began in 1966, was a period of intense political violence and upheaval. The purges and political persecution that took place during this period have been widely criticized as a violation of human rights and an abuse of power. 2. The Great Leap Forward. Mao's Great Leap Forward, which aimed to rapidly modernize China's economy through collectivization and industrialization, was a disastrous failure that resulted in famine and millions of deaths. Mao's insistence on pursuing the Great Leap Forward despite its disastrous consequences has been widely criticized. 3. Human rights abuses. Mao's regime was characterized by widespread human rights abuses, including the suppression of dissent and the persecution of political opponents. The use of forced labor and the imprisonment and execution of political prisoners have also been widely criticized. 4. Environmental destruction. Mao's policies also had a significant impact on China's environment, with widespread deforestation and other forms of environmental destruction taking place under his leadership. 5. Historians' evaluations. Historians have offered a range of perspectives on Mao's legacy. Some see Mao as a transformative figure who led China out of feudalism and into a new era of socialism and modernization. Others view him as a ruthless dictator who presided over a regime characterized by political violence and human rights abuses. Overall, Mao Zedong's leadership has been controversial, and his policies and actions have been the subject of much criticism and debate. While some view Mao as a transformative figure who led China to greatness, others see him as a ruthless dictator whose policies had disastrous consequences. How did Mao's leadership impact the broader communist movement and global politics, and what lessons can be learned from his leadership style and policies? Mao Zedong's leadership had a significant impact on the broader communist movement and global politics, and his leadership style and policies offer several lessons for political leaders and policymakers today. Here are some ways in which Mao's leadership impacted global politics, and some lessons that can be learned from his legacy. 1. Influence on the global communist movement. Mao's leadership had a significant impact on the global communist movement, with his ideas and philosophy inspiring revolutionary movements and socialist governments around the world. Mao's focus on mass mobilization and revolutionary struggle, as well as his emphasis on anti-imperialism and anti-colonialism, continue to resonate with many leftist movements today. 2. Cold War politics. Mao's leadership also had a significant impact on Cold War politics, with China emerging as a major world power and challenging the dominance of the United States and the Soviet Union. Mao's emphasis on revolutionary struggle and socialist ideals contributed to the development of nuclear deterrence theory and the arms race of the Cold War era. 3. Lessons from Mao's leadership style. Mao's leadership style, characterized by a cult of personality and ideological rigidity, offers several lessons for political leaders and policymakers today. One lesson is the importance of avoiding the pitfalls of personality cults and promoting democratic values and institutions. Another lesson is the importance of balancing ideological commitments with pragmatism and flexibility in policymaking. 4. Lessons from Mao's policies. Mao's policies, including the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution, offer important lessons for policymakers today. One lesson is the importance of evidence-based policymaking and avoiding the pitfalls of utopian thinking. Another lesson is the importance of prioritizing human rights and avoiding the use of violence and repression in pursuit of political goals. Overall, Mao Zedong's leadership had a significant impact on global politics and the communist movement, and his legacy offers several important lessons for political leaders and policymakers today. While Mao's leadership style and policies were controversial, they offer valuable insights into the challenges of political leadership and the importance of promoting democratic values, evidence-based policymaking, and human rights. Some text goes here. How did Mao's policies impact the economy of China, and what were some of the long-term consequences of his economic policies? Some text goes here. Mao Zedong's economic policies had a significant impact on the economy of China, with both positive and negative consequences. Here are some ways in which Mao's policies impacted the Chinese economy, and some of the long-term consequences of his economic policies. 1. The Great Leap Forward. Mao's Great Leap Forward, which aimed to rapidly modernize China's economy through collectivization and industrialization, was a disastrous failure that resulted in famine and millions of deaths. The collectivization of agriculture and forced industrialization disrupted traditional rural practices and resulted in the loss of agricultural productivity, leading to widespread famine. 2. Planned economy. Mao's economic policies emphasized a planned economy, with the state controlling the means of production and the allocation of resources. This approach was intended to promote economic development and reduce inequality, but it also led to inefficiencies and corruption in the economy. 3. Cultural Revolution. Mao's Cultural Revolution, which aimed to transform China's social and cultural structures, disrupted the economy and contributed to economic stagnation. The emphasis on ideology and political purity led to the removal of many skilled workers and intellectuals from the workforce, which had long-term consequences for the economy. 4. Legacy. The long-term consequences of Mao's economic policies were mixed. While Mao's policies helped to modernize China's economy and build a foundation for future growth, they also contributed to widespread poverty and economic stagnation. The emphasis on planned economy and state control of production also limited innovation and entrepreneurship. 5. Reform era. Since Mao's death in 1976, China has undergone significant economic reform, with a shift towards a market-based economy and greater economic liberalization. This shift has led to rapid economic growth and poverty reduction, but has also contributed to inequality and environmental degradation. Overall, Mao Zedong's economic policies had a significant impact on the economy of China, with both positive and negative consequences. While Mao's policies helped to modernize China's economy and build a foundation for future growth, they also contributed to widespread poverty and economic stagnation. The legacy of Mao's economic policies continues to be felt in China today, with ongoing debates over the role of the state in the economy and the balance between economic growth and social equity. Some text goes here. What was Mao's role in the Korean War, and how did this impact China's relationship with the United States and other global powers? Some text goes here. Mao Zedong played a key role in the Korean War, which lasted from 1950 to 1953. Here are some ways in which Mao's involvement in the Korean War impacted China's relationship with the United States and other global powers. 1. Military intervention. Mao's decision to intervene in the Korean War was a significant shift in China's foreign policy, marking the first time that China had used its military to support a communist ally outside of its borders. Mao's decision to intervene was motivated by a desire to prevent the United States from establishing a foothold in the Korean peninsula and to strengthen China's international standing. 2. Relationship with the United States. China's intervention in the Korean War had a significant impact on its relationship with the United States, which saw China's actions as a threat to its strategic interests in the region. The Korean War contributed to a period of heightened tension between the United States and China, and marked the beginning of a long period of antagonism between the two countries. 3. Global power dynamics. Mao's involvement in the Korean War also impacted global power dynamics, with China emerging as a major world power and challenging the dominance of the United States and other Western powers. China's intervention in the Korean War signaled its willingness to challenge Western imperialism and promote the spread of communist ideology around the world. 4. Lessons learned. Mao's leadership during the Korean War offers several lessons for policymakers and military leaders today. One lesson is the importance of understanding the political and strategic context of military interventions, and the potential risks and consequences of such actions. Another lesson is the importance of balancing military and diplomatic efforts in pursuing foreign policy objectives.